Welcome, everyone, to another episode from Robotic Theater Productions. This is the leadership from the Robotic Global Surgical Society, TROGSS. It is our pleasure to welcome you, and today I give the honor of the podium and the microphone to the co-chair of the Medical Student Committee and one of our top leaders at TROGSS, student doctor, soon-to-be doctor, graduated, Abhirami Babu. Abhi, how are you?
Doing great. Right here in Nacogdoches early morning to start off with our first podcast and our first episode of Console Original Reads. Each episode of the Console will basically highlight a very impactful piece of literature in surgical education. But we won't just go ahead and read a paper, we won't digest it, but we'll talk about what really means, what it matters, whether that's in curation with students or with surgical leadership, so we can apply it in real life. And today I have the honor of introducing our two incredible speakers, Dr. Rodolfo J, joining us today. He is the CEO of TROGSS, Medical Director of Bariatric Surgical Services and Robotics Program in Nacogdoches Medical Center, and a clinical professor at University of Houston and Sam Houston State University. Welcome to our show.
Thank you so much. And before we start with the program and introducing our wonderful co-speakers as well, we also have our president, Dr. Adel Abou-Mrad, who will be connecting with us. Dr. Pierre Blanc, unfortunately, will not be available. He has other important commitments, but Dr. Adel Abou-Mrad will be connecting as well. I also want to, before we even start doing anything else, I want to acknowledge our industry partner, and this is Lipoline. I invite everyone to check out our website at trogss.org. It's very important. Check out our journal partners, our sister societies, but especially our industry partner, Lipoline. What is Lipoline? It's a European company based in France, just like TROGSS, and it is a company that makes state-of-the-art appliances and compression garments and binders for the whole body so that they enhance lymphatic drainage and improve pain control and posture and decrease seroma formation after surgery, especially after metabolic and bariatric surgery, or for patients who suffer from severe obesity and they have hernia surgery, for example, sometimes also for plastic surgery and so on. I invite all the surgeons, practicing surgeons, consultants who are watching us throughout the world to check out the website. Check them out. They're a wonderful company, and they donate financial investment in TROGSS so that we can carry out our educational endeavors. We are a nonprofit society, and a lot of our educational endeavors and sponsorships and mentorship for our students and intercontinental training program residents and fellows and everyone who is engaged in educational activities at TROGSS, and they do not have the funding to attend conferences, well, that comes from important investments from Lipoline and their support. So thank you very much. And now we can start. Abby, why don't we introduce the other speakers before we start? And what's the title of our webinar today?
The title of our webinar today is the Console Original Reads, powered by TROGSS Medical Student Society, co-powered by Surgeon app. And each episode will be delving into a new journal article. And I would like to keep it more as a casual back and forth discussion. And again, for our speakers today, I already introduced Dr. Oviedo. Our second speaker who was unavailable today was Dr. Pierre Blanc, who's based in France, and he brings a true global perspective to today's conversation. I'm so sorry he couldn't join us today, but he's a very skilled robotic surgeon, experienced educator, and a key contributor all over Europe, and a very big supporter of all through Europe as well. For our second speaker today is Dr. Abou-Mrad, who's also an internationally recognized leader in surgical education, who's also the president and the founder of TROGSS, very, very important person for us, and notably the French chapter secretary of the American College of Surgeons. His commitment to collaboration across borders and disciplines have shaped TROGSS into a powerful force for innovation, mentorship, and surgical equity. He'll be joining us soon as well. So till then, I would like to give a little bit of a short introduction onto the paper that we're talking about today. And more importantly, all three of our guests are the lead authors for this paper as well. So you have the unique opportunity to directly ask the question to the authors themselves who made the paper happen.
Thank you, Abby. May I introduce also our three additional surprise speakers today?
Yeah.
And we're really honored because we have three participants from the ITP, which is a product of TROGSS. It's the Intercontinental Training Program. And these are doctors from all over the world who come to one of our centers. This is one of 8 centers in different continents. And this one is in Texas, Nacogdoches, Texas, USA. And so it's my honor to introduce Dr. Abhishek Thapa over here, Dr. Thapa from Nepal. who is also applying through the match for general surgery in the United States. And then we have in the middle, student Dr. Pedro Vega, soon to be doctor from Peru, from Lima, Peru. So student Dr. Pedro Vega will also become a surgeon in the United States. That's a dream. And over here, we have Dr. Juan Subillaga from Venezuela, who was one of our speakers for one of the last sessions on AI and investigators and research for young investigators. So Dr. Juan Subillaga is also wanting to become a surgeon in the United States. And so we're honored to have you guys. How are you?
It's a pleasure to be here, and hi everyone. Thanks for inviting us for this session. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, we're very grateful for the opportunity to be here to participate with you and well in this big thing we have now, being able to speak with one of the main authors of the study we're going to be discussing today.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation. Thank you for the invitation. This is a great opportunity for us to talk between us and to increase the knowledge in robotic surgery.
And they'll be serving today as our questions panel, so I have a little bit of back and forth, hopefully. And we'll keep the answers and questions quite short for keeping ours within the time frame. Perfect.
Let's do something. Let's do something fun. Let's answer questions from the point of view of the paper. Yes, this is a journal club activity.
Yes,
This is
yeah.
original reads.
That's correct.
OR, capital OR, as
Yeah.
in the operating room.
Yeah.
Or I love the
The game.
the game. Yes. So it's original reads, the console, as
Yes.
in the surgeon console.
Yes, sir.
So we will talk about the paper. That sounds wonderful, but that may not be everything we'll bring to you today. We also have the experience from our ITP participants,
Yes.
trainees,
Yes.
soon to be graduates from the Intercontinental Training Program. So they will give you their perspective, Abby, from the point of view of robotic surgery simulation,
Definitely.
doing the other day they did a cholecystectomy robotically, virtual reality, not on a patient, virtual reality. It looks real. Abby, we'll be talking about that. It's just incredible. And they did it themselves by following the tutorial.
Okay.
And at the end, can you imagine what they can do? If they did a gallbladder, later on they'll be doing, this coming week, they'll be doing other procedures such as intracorporeal anastomosis or ileocolectomy, ileocolonic anastomosis
Right.
after right hemicolectomy. So imagine what they can do. And we're actually implementing the CARS curriculum. So what is CARS? CARS stands for Competency-Based Assessment of Robotic Surgery Skills, CARS, CARS. What is it? It is a product of TROGSS. It is a manuscript that was published last year
Yes.
in a leading surgical education
surgical
journal,
education
a global
journal,
surgical education.
2024.
Absolutely. And so it's a phenomenal paper that brings, it's a contribution to the world.
Yes.
And what is it? It's a scale, but it's also a curriculum. The scale, anybody can use it anywhere in the world to be able to train surgical trainees, medical students, residents, registrars, interns, fellows, all the way to practicing surgeons who have never used a robot.
Right.
And that's wonderful. That's the scale. And the manuscript gives you the scale with 10 variables, 10 parameters that you need to evaluate. And it's scaled from 1 to 5. 5 is the top grade, 1 is
With descriptions
poorest,
for each.
with descriptions for each parameter, Abby, and it's 10 parameters. Now, 7 of those can actually be assessed via video. So if you have video recordings of the case, de-identified, of course, always protecting patient confidentiality, never disclosing the patient's identity, and with permission from patients to record. 7 of those can be evaluated based on video. So you don't even have to be present, Abby, in the
Right,
OR.
right.
You can just see the video, de-identified, and you can use 7 of those to grade the performance of the trainee in robotic surgery.
And that opens also the avenue of tele-mentoring as well. correct?
Absolutely. Now, I would say 7 of those can be evaluated based on a screen, if you have your iPad or laptop,
Right.
but you could actually evaluate the other 3 if you had a webcam in the OR, if you were watching the
Right.
trainee
Right.
with a camera in the OR, then now you're talking about 10 of the
Right.
skills.
The
Because 3 of
intangibles.
them, you cannot evaluate based on a laptop or a screen. You have to actually see what they're doing,
Right.
right? We will be happy to describe the curriculum very soon. We'll be talking about the 10 of the skills. You have the paper with you.
Yes.
We recently, Abby, and you are one of the leading authors on this, we
Yeah.
actually did CARS 2.0. What's CARS 2.0? Well, to know what CARS 2.0 is, we got to go back to CARS 1.0. So why don't we go to CARS 1.0?
Perfect. Actually, Dr. Oviedo basically explained it to the core, and we're talking about 10 specific robotic skills like docking, stapler use, suturing, and even intangibles like ergonomics, which hasn't been that much incorporated in other skills before. And instead of having a generic overview of the residents and the medical students and whoever's training on a robot, we have now 10 specific skills. Now, I was reading yesterday, what gets measured gets improved. And right now, we have a very tangible way to put surgical education data-wise. And as we're talking about CARS 2.0, that's where we validated the scale through surveys online, where it was not just 20 reviewers doing it for CARS, but also around the world, people were seeing the same videos, de-identified patient information, of course. And
More than
it just-
300 participants.
participants were there. And this led to our 2.0, which is getting also published soon enough. And we have CARS 3.0 that's coming up, where we'll be establishing this in various ITP sites.
Surprise, we'll be talking about CARS 3.0 very soon, but why don't we go back to the beginning of history? Let's go to CARS 1.0, when we
Right.
didn't even call it 1.0 because we did not know that there was going to be a 2.0. So let's go to CARS. So it started with this idea when I've been honored to be faculty and a surgical educator for more than a decade. It's an honor, it's a privilege, and I know you'll do the same. And so when you're an educator, you see different levels of expertise. Some people, you would argue, they're born with an innate skill to be superhuman, right?
Right.
Some people are born once a century, maybe once every 2 centuries, who are the Da Vincis of the world, and I don't know, the Michael Jordans
It's the vision.
and the
Yeah.
Gandhis, right? And the wonderful artists and politicians and debaters and speakers and scientists and the Marie Curies and the Einsteins, and you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
once in a while in history, in human history, you get a genius born. Most of us, it's just hard work. That's all it is. It's just attention to detail. It's just hard work. We may not be geniuses, and that's okay. Not everybody needs to be.
You perfect the craft.
You just get exactly as the achievement of, we aim to achieve perfection. We will never do it, but
Yeah.
we aim for it. And we do it by attention to detail. The other day I was having this conversation with my son, one of my sons, my 8-year-old.
Okay.
Okay, and so I was telling him, son, it's just attention to detail, because he's very he wants to do everything to the best of his ability. And so, you know, it's possible, but it's just with attention to detail, with attention to the little minutia, right?
Right.
And what performance athletes do is
Right.
just practice.
Right.
For most of us, we get better at things by just practicing. We may not be the Einsteins of the world, but it's okay. We don't need to be. We just need to be the best that we can be. So as an educator, you pay attention to that, and you notice that some interns or residents, I'm not gonna name anybody, some of them are born with this incredible ability to do well, but with just a few tests and practice runs, they're just incredible. They're flying. They can touch the robot, and with simulation training, and we'll describe what we're doing here. This is called LAST, Laboratory for Augmented Surgical Training. It's one of the products of TROGSS. LAST is a concept. It's not just a physical space. It's like you're in the cloud. LAST is the place where TROGSS trains its trainees, the ITP participants. And
Right.
this is LAST. This is Laboratory for Augmented Surgical Training, where surgical education comes first.
Right.
And so we have LAST here, where we, just next door, we have a laparoscopic simulator box, we have an endoscopy simulator. We built an entire EGD and colonoscopy model based on ventilator circuit, a cheap way to build a model.
Reconstructed it.
To
That's
reconstruct the
perfect.
GI
Yeah.
tract with ventilator circuits, so we can simulate and train our trainees how to do endoscopy. We go to the hospital, and not on human patients, that's not possible. It's on simulation. We actually have the trainees suture on Penrose drains, on plastic models, not on human patients, absolutely not. Not on animal models either, no animal sacrifice for this. It's just inanimate, dry lab.
And where a lot of studies also show there's a significant improvement in learning curve when they actually get to work on patients later during their training years as well with simulation
Exactly.
training.
Exactly. So it begins with simulation. You know, the concept of the ancient surgical concept of C1,
See one, teach one, do one.
C1, teach one, do one.
It's so ancient, we don't even remember it
It
anymore.
sounds catchy. Do one, teach one, or C1, do one.
Teach one.
So C1, teach one, do one, meaning that you can watch the procedure, then you can teach the procedure to your junior, and now you're supposed to know how to do it.
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore. It's a really challenging time. You see, all due respect to the older generations of surgeons who came before us, absolutely my deepest respect to them. Yes, they lived in the hospital. That's why it's called residents. They resided there.
Right.
That's why it's called interns. They were interned in the hospital and they worked so many hours. But nowadays, I'm not comparing myself or our generation or your generation, you're younger than me, to them, but in reality, the challenges are different. Yes, we're not allowed to, or not me, I'm a surgeon already. I can, no limits for what my work is just unlimited. But for you, when you train, there will be a limit,
Mhm.
especially in countries like the United
Number of
States.
hours.
Yeah, number of hours.
Yeah.
They won't let you work more than a certain specific number of hours
Right.
to protect yourself, right?
Mhm.
But your job, Abby, will come charged with so much more because the more senior surgeons that we deeply respect and we owe everything, we owe a large portion of what we do now to them, thanks to their teaching, all due respect to them. They did not have to deal with so much medical knowledge that we have now that you need
Right.
to know.
Right.
You need to be responsible for knowing AI for
Yes.
medical applications. You need to manage so many software applications. You need to be on top of your game. You need to know ICD-10 in the United States for coding. You need to know charges. You need to know CPT coding. You need to know so much, Abby. And on top of it, you get more consoles and more subspecialty training. You need to memorize more procedures, more steps, more technological advances. So you see, your head is overloaded
Right.
with so much more. So in a shorter amount of time that you're allowed to be a resident, right? You need to manage so much more and so many patients. So
So would you say that your surgical education is lagging behind compared to how far ahead surgery is advancing and innovations going on? And
always,
scales like cars is a way to scale that improvement in surgical education within residency training.
absolutely, Abby. Actually, gentlemen, pass me that book in the back. Let me illustrate what you're just saying. And by the way, a little while ago, I saw Professor Adel Abou-Mrad joining us. He might be having a difficulty with connection, but thank you for joining us, my dear friend, president and founder of TROGSS. So may I? This book is an example of what student Dr. Abhirami Babu was talking about.
Yes.
So this is a book that I was honored to be an academic editor for. It's called Upper Gastrointestinal Surgery, Contemporary Techniques and Training, talking about cars, talking
Exactly.
about exactly the topic for today. You are one of the esteemed authors.
Yes.
And so thank you for that.
Thank you.
This is a product of TROGSS. Not all the authors are TROGSS members. We wish, and we hope that
Hopefully
everyone will
every
join. Most of the authors are members and leaders of TROGSS. And I want to tell you, this is a wonderful book. This is super updated. I mean, the papers here are papers from even last year.
And a good amount of chapters compare the before and afters, like yourself, the article about the French technique that we talked
The
about.
French,
New
the
Orleans way.
Orléans technique.
Exactly. So that's very rare literature that we can find anymore where it compares the intricacies and the difference in technique going forward, especially
Absolutely.
with the new tech involved.
But you see, to your point, this is a wonderful book. It's updated to even last year. However, by the time it came out in print,
We
there is
already
a
have the
slight
new
lag
technique.
because now more papers were published. And so
Right.
a book is wonderful and an online version is wonderful. And we have
Right.
videos for this book, etc. I invite everyone to read it. However, you're right. Surgical education will always lag behind because the demand for our knowledge is always stronger
Right.
than everything we can publish. We're always behind a little bit, a few
Right.
steps. So thank you so much. So why is CARS important? Because you see, Abby, when you see these trainees, some of them have a hard time. Some of
Right.
them have a real hard time, and you have to spend more time as an educator with everyone. Depending on, you could be a genius, you could pick up the technique and work with the simulator, with the robot and learn how to do robotic surgery in
Right.
just a few weeks. And I can work with you, Abby, and I can do my best to turn you into a wonderful technical surgeon. But we know that surgery, a surgeon is not just a technician.
Right.
It's not. We're not technicians. We're not technologists. We are doctors. We are physicians with medical knowledge who have the privilege of entering the human body and
Right.
altering the anatomy and physiology to an extent that nobody else has that privilege. So we are blessed. It's a gift that we have. We don't take it for granted, but in reality, Not everybody is at the same level, and that is okay. Everybody has special needs to accommodate, but we can get everyone to the end goal. Now, being a surgeon is not just technical, right? So
Right.
yes, it's really judgment. We can teach most people with hand-eye coordination. We can teach them how to do operations. That's not what makes a surgeon. I once heard that a surgeon knows how to operate. Well, they better know it, otherwise they wouldn't be a surgeon,
All
right?
right,
A good surgeon knows
when not to.
when to operate, but a great surgeon knows when not to
operate.
operate. You see, even though we want to, we need to know when it's not a good idea to do that, so
Right.
that we don't harm the patient. First, do no harm, right?
Yes,
Primum non nocere, and that's the first principle of medicine. So why am I saying all this? It's a very long introduction, but where does CARS come from? When I was faculty in my previous post in Houston, the soon to be the third largest city in the United States, a major cosmopolitan metropolis that, it's the size, is bigger than several states in the United States. You've been there.
yeah,
That city is incredible. And so that's where I trained.
right,
That's where I lived a large number of years
right,
in my life. And also that's where I went back as faculty. And when I was at the largest medical center in the world, at the Texas Medical Center, I identified that need to develop a well-established, organized curriculum that could be replicable, could be applied by not just me. I can't multiply myself into 10. I
Right.
was director of robotic general surgery at that
Yes.
institution. So I said, why don't we recruit the other faculty members, the other professors and teachers, and have them apply the scale to grade the residents and coach them during
Right.
surgery
Mhm.
and give them feedback, constructive criticism, and get them better. And they can apply this scale, and I don't need to be there to tell them how to use the scale. So let's describe the scale and let's talk about it. 1 point if they do this, 2 points if they improve, 3
Right.
points, whatever, right? All the way to 5 points if they're
Okay.
the best they can be.
But you made it standardized.
Standardized,
Right.
10 scales and 10 skills, and we're going to talk about them. But that's only one component. So yes, we apply the scale in the OR. For those who are watching, who are not doctors, don't think that residents operate on their own. This is the 21st century. That's not happening. No, they're always supervised. Okay, so please, let's make that clear.
Yes.
There's always an attending. In the United States, we call it attending physician. In other parts of the
Consultants.
world, they call them
Consultants.
consultants. Okay, so just know that there's always a professor in the room. If not scrubbed in directly with them, if they're seniors, if they're chief residents, they're just there watching, giving them coaching, etc. But they're never on their own. Okay, this is the United States. This is standards surgical education, 21st century. But just to make sure they were being coached by these experts, right?
Right.
And that was one thing. Yes, they were operating on human patients, but always coached and mentored and supervised, and they were critiqued heavily
Right.
based on the curriculum. That was one component of the CAR scale.
Mhm.
The second component was in the laboratory. Okay, so we had a major laboratory where we would take the
Those were
residents.
the wet labs.
Yes, the wet lab, animal lab,
Okay.
always with approval from ethics committee,
Mhm.
from animal control, from the animal protection rights committee. Okay, so this was done rigorously with approval from ethics at the institution. These were animals that were euthanized properly. There were anesthesia technologists taking care of them, veterinarians. They were euthanized properly. So this was approved by ethics. So we applied for a grant, Abby. We got a $50,000 grant. That doesn't sound like a lot of money,
For wet labs.
but it's a lot of money if you think about
Yeah.
it. In some countries, right? Even in the US for surgical education, it's not easy to get a grant, Abby. It's fierce
Definitely.
competition.
And the ethical board, IRB protocols, it's hard.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
it's not easy. So we applied, thank God we got it, $50,000 to be spent with details that needed to be submitted to the ethics committee.
Right.
And we did it. We did a total of 4 laboratories, Abby.
Mhm.
No, I'm sorry. We did 2 major labs, 2 minor labs, so a total of 4,
Okay.
where we would have a porcine live models, so pigs, anesthetized live pigs during surgery. You may say, why pigs? Because their anatomy is similar to the human anatomy, not quite the same in many
At
aspects,
least
but
within the GI aspects.
at least in the GI
Okay.
tract is quite similar.
Gotcha.
And we did it. And so we did the procedures. We did procedures ranging from inguinal hernia to robotic ventral hernia to robotic sigmoid colectomy to robotic right colectomy to robotic hydrohernia repair with fundoplication to robotic sleeve gastrectomy and Roux-en-Y gastric bypass, and even robotic single anastomosis duodenal ileostomy, SADE. So
Gotcha.
we did a lot, Abby. You think about it, we did,
And
and
just for
Colby.
the viewers as well, so if we're using an animal model and we're trying to, for example, practice a hernia surgery, you can be inducing a hernia on a pig, so how exactly would that be modelized?
Yes, good question. So if it's I mean, if it's a fundoplication and things like that, it's easier. But if
More
it's a
like the
hernia,
hernia.
then we had to simulate the hernia. You're right. So with the animal anesthetized, we would make a defect. We could
Gotcha.
create a defect
Okay.
with energy in the abdominal wall. And we would sometimes create it. Sometimes you'd be surprised the pigs already came with an umbilical hernia. So that was easy.
You're lucky enough.
Yeah, and most of the pigs already had a hiatal hernia anyway, so it wasn't a lot of work to do. They were not bowel prepped, so the colectomy was difficult. But anyway, that was just a humorous part of it. But no, we treated the animals with the deepest respect.
Right.
Okay, so this is science, this is medical. Think about it. We have to train. And so, I mean, rather than doing I'm gonna get it right this time. See one, teach one. See one, do one, teach one. That's it. We got it. See one, do one, and now you can teach it.
Teach it.
You see how
Yeah.
you see one, then you do it, and now you have the power to teach it.
Teach
It's
it.
not that easy. It's all the respect to those who did it, but not anymore. With the medical legal implications nowadays,
Right.
we have to be very sure that we protect our patients and ourselves. So we have to train, and so it's better to train in a pig that will be euthanized and treated with the deepest respect and ethical standards compared to practicing on a patient, right? And
Right.
so we did it. The residents did it and the interns. In the U.S. we call them interns when they're first year residents. Okay, and just watching the time, making sure we're not over. Okay, we're halfway. Good.
They were having-
So the interns would have to comply by doing at least 10 bedside assist procedures, what our wonderful ITP trainees are going through when we call it the hardware lab. What is the hardware lab? Go ahead, guys. What is the hardware lab that we do at LAS in robotic surgery?
Where we learn about all the parts and how to move, how to turn on and off. It's an important
So the
part of the.
dockings and bits like that.
I'm sorry.
The
docking?
docking,
Yeah.
But also how to drape the robot arms,
right?
Yeah.
how to move the joints, how to move the robot, the what we call the patient cart, the boom, how to move it and wheel it towards the patient, right, guys?
It's basically the context around the surgery, which is the one you put attention in, but you never look on or you never pay attention to how to make that surgery happen, how
Right.
make that robotic.
And especially
thing.
as interns and residents, that's one part
Exactly.
that you pay attention to, which you get early exposure to.
Exactly.
correct? Okay.
Yeah, so it's very important. It's actually the beginning. This is the beginning intro to robotic surgery.
Yeah.
And then we do something we call dry lab in LAST, which is on Penrose strains. We do intracorporeal suturing right here next door in LAST, laparoscopic version. Then we take that concept to LAST in robotics,
Okay.
and then in the hospital, they do it on a Penrose strain and so on. Anyway, the residents did 10 assist procedures to be able to then earn the right to go to the lab and do it on pigs. And they were graded by faculty by using the same scale, which is CARS. Okay, so now you have two modalities. Number one, they're doing surgery on human patients always supervised, and they're getting graded in the hospital. Number two, they're getting graded according to their performance on pigs,
Right.
anesthetized pigs, in the lab setting, very safe environment, okay? Number three, which is where it gets really futuristic and very exciting. What's the third one? The third modality of the CARS curriculum was independent blinded reviewer assessment of de-identified short edited videos from the trainees' performance after they gave their consent, by the way.
Right.
They were subjects of research, so they consented to that. It was de-identified. So of course the reviewers did not know the name, the
Right.
level, the trainee level.
Right.
They did not know
Could be anything from PG1 to 5 or 10 days.
PGY1. PGY in the United States means postgraduate year.
Graduate.
PGY1 is an intern or PGY1 is resident
Right.
first year, all the way to 5, which is chief resident in the US. So PGY1 through 5 were evaluated, but the videos were recorded according to the hospital's ethical standards,
Right.
de-identified, no patient info disclosed whatsoever, not even if it was a male or female. Then the residence level, absolutely unknown. 2 blinded expert reviewers who were top of the top, some of the best robotic surgeons in the world, okay? One of them, Professor Dr. Adel Abou-Mrad, president and founder of TROGSS, and there he is. Hello, my friend, how are you? You might be muted. You're muted. I am so sorry. I'm having a hard time hearing you, my friend. I think you're muted. Can you check?
Hello,
He's back now.
We
do you
hear
hear
you.
me now?
Hello.
Do
Greetings
you
to
hear
you.
me? Do you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Sorry, I was late because I was on my laptop and I had video issues, but I heard all the conversation and I agree with you. You are the best in teaching domain and you elaborate many, many good things. And I thank you for all the work you are doing.
Oh, thank you, my friend. Likewise, you're the best. Thank you so much, and honored to work with you and have you here. It's quite an honor. Thank you very much.
Likewise.
Welcome in, Dr. Mrad, which brings us to a very good question, and I'm sure you can chime in on this as well. Why competency? Why not? I mean, back in the day, you could be doing 10 cases 10 times the wrong way and still getting the same number of logs in order to sign off. And now, why are we stressing on competency?
Great. And when you mean logs, and what Abby is talking about is LOG, logs, what we call your case log. What does it mean for those in the audience who are not doctors? So we have people who are not in the medical field, they don't
Right.
understand that.
Students
What is a
as well.
case log? A case log is it's almost like the captain's log when you're an aviator, when
Right.
you're a flight or an aviator
Right.
or a pilot,
Right.
is your flight log. It's the number of cases or surgical procedures that you do in your training or in your lifetime. I have a case log. I'm a surgeon in practice. I keep a case log with the American College of Surgeons, specific registry, which is
Right.
the identified. So what is a case log? Well, you could, like Abby's saying, implying you could submit your case log to graduate and you say that you graduated with 1,300 cases, okay, in 5 years. Does that mean that you're proficient, Abby? Not really, right? How do you know?
Exactly.
How do you know? I mean, your program director has to sign off on it. And we hope and we trust the
Right.
institution, and the program director will supervise that. And if it's an ACGME in the United States accredited institution, it's going to
Right.
be honored,
Right.
right? But do you know for sure that they're being objectively trained? Yes. If it's an ACGME institution, yes. And they use standards to be able to grade them. And so having a case log doesn't necessarily mean that you did it unless you're in an institution that is absolutely accredited by the most rigorous standards.
Right.
And what it means is you need to evaluate competency, because it's not about the numbers only, it's about the quality. It's
Right.
not just quantity. And so the quality means that you are doing the things you're supposed to be doing. You're following the steps of the procedure according to standards. You're not making up the procedure. You are following the steps. Yes, you're using your intuition and your innovation at some points, and you may be required to improvise a little bit, but most of the times it's like conducting an orchestra. You follow the script, you read from the notes, and then you execute your instrument. Once in a while, you may have to improvise a little bit, but you deviate the least from the norm. And so competency is very important in our training. We have to have parameters to be able to evaluate the performance,
Right.
which brings me to this. The two blinded reviewers, who were Dr. Adel Abou-Mrad and Dr. Pierre Blanc, some of the best bariatric robotic surgeons in the world, but also general surgeons,
Right.
they independently were blinded reviewers who applied the CAR scale. Let's see if everybody was paying attention. How many of the features of CARs could they actually apply? Because they were not in person. They were not watching in person. They did not have a webcam in the OR. So how many?
That would be 7.
Seven, exactly. They could not apply the 10, of course. We wish. In the future, CARS 3.0 will have that.
Yes.
But for now, 7 out of the 3. Because 3 of them, they have to do with things that you cannot see on an iPad. And they graded them. And then we had phenomenal results. Not perfect, because it's only two independent reviewers. We wish we had 5 or 10.
Right.
And it was only 25 cases total. We wish we had submitted 100.
But that's why we did 2.0, where we have 300 participants doing external validation.
Exactly.
As well.
That's why we did CARS 2.0, because now we were like, you know what? How do we flip this around, and let's think outside the box? Rather than having 25 videos reviewed by 2 blinded reviewers, how about we turn it around? Let's have one video reviewed by 300 reviewers, completely blinded. Genius, right? And that was the origin of CARS 2.0. And so now you helped us develop this global survey, massive, that was distributed by multiple wonderful societies that are affiliated with TROGSS, sister societies,
That's
um,
very good.
and other societies that hopefully in the future will be affiliated with TROGSS and will have a partnership. You know, we have, for example, Project IMG, which is
Correct.
phenomenal, right?
Yes.
Project IMG. We have a lot of Project IMG
Right.
members, are members, proud members of TROGSS. We also had other members like Magister Chirurgia, the Operating Room Global, and other societies that are TORG, and so on. And so we had multiple societies, multiple members from all around the world that speak multiple languages in different continents, more than 300. And we just submitted the abstract to the American College of Surgeons,
Correct.
and the paper is coming up. We're so proud in one of the leading journals affiliated with TROGSS. We're so excited.
Perfect.
So where do we go from here? Now we're talking about 3 modalities, right? Residents were graded during surgery and
Correct.
on human patients, always supervised, number 1. Residents were graded executing cases on anesthetized pigs that were euthanized and were subjected to the most rigorous ethical standards and animal control and protection standards. All IRB approved, by the way. This is not improvising and doing something
Right.
just for fun. It's IRB approved. Number 3, video review, blinded reviewers, 25 videos reviewed, completely ranging from England all the way to metabolic bariatrics, colorectal, you name it, by 2 of the best robotic surgeons in the world, blinded. And we had good rates of reliability,
Definitely.
intra and
Inter
intra-rater
well.
reliability, not perfect, but we reached some good conclusions. What are the main conclusions? Let's talk about it. And before we even talk about that, before the conclusions, let's describe the scale. I think it's time.
Right.
We have 20 more minutes. Let's do it.
Yeah. But also just to bring our panel in as well. And I got this question from one of my peers as well. It takes a long time to be a doctor, right, guys? It's a lot of exams, then you get your residency, and now you have another scale, another person scoring you on top again. But if at the end of your residency, let's say you're 4th-year resident, and your attending says you're not competent enough, what will be your next question? What part am I not competent enough?
Yeah,
Right,
basically, I need to understand what am I lacking?
Right.
What is
So you want data metrics, correct?
exactly?
And that's what CARS provide as well, because we talk about the 7 metrics, and that's mostly docking, stapler use. And even within our paper, we found that the lowest score was for stapling use as well. So what would that be? And again, giving that feedback to a trainee or resident, does that also help you as the proctor, correct? Knowing that this is how much you lack, and after maybe doing 36 cases, this is how they improved on their scores.
2 reasons for that, Abby. Let me talk about that, and then I like to describe the features so that our
do this.
wonderful trainees they can talk about it. The robotic stapler use was the weakest one. That was the one that showed the most difficulty with the trainees.
Right.
2 reasons. Statistics. We didn't have that many procedures that stapled.
Okay.
That's one. So many of those cases were hernias. You're not going to staple on a hernia
Yeah.
usually. Even on a hiatal hernia, the stapling ones were mostly solely colorectal cases and bariatric cases, period. So not all the cases stapled. That's one weakness of the study. We acknowledged it. One. So had we done more, it would have been better. I'm convinced that. Number 2, this is inherent to stapling. People think that driving a stapler is the easiest thing in the world. Just push the button. No,
It's not.
because you can push the pedal or the button, even laparoscopically, but it's not that. Dr. Abou-Mrad can give us his opinion on this. Stapling is really not about just compressing and firing the stapler. Staplers are instruments that more than a century old, by the way, that compress and connect 2 parts of the GI tract or organs, could be lung as well. They connect, they cut, and then they make a connection with staples, and that way it seals the tissues, and hopefully they don't leak. And they're super modern now, and they come with AI technologies, with robotics, etc. But Dr. Adel Abou-Mrad, can you comment briefly on the issue of why stapling is so difficult for trainees to master, and then we need to get better? That helped me to be able to be more proactive, teaching my trainees how to staple properly, because it's about the angles, right? Angles and positions.
Well, if you recall that when we had the SI, the robot SI, we didn't have the staple, the robotic stapler. So, and if you look upon the numbers, before the event of robotic stapling, digestive surgery was not common in robotic use. So the event of the stapler gave the digestive surgery its trigger, and since then, robotic digestive surgery is growing exponentially in numbers everywhere. Stapling is not used only to cut and to staple. It's used to do anastomosis. It's a major instrument in digestive surgery. And when first we were doing bypasses on DSI, we were giving our assistant the stapler to do the major step in our surgery, and it was not very satisfactory. So now, with the stapling being in control, the surgeon being in control of stapling, surgery is easier and more precise. Applying a stapler is not anodyne. It must be mastered. It must be, the tissues must be well opposite, and it must be well calculated in order not to, as you said, have a fistula or have any other problem with the stapling. So the stapling is a major issue. So this is why, since the surgeon had control of this stapling within the procedure, digestive surgery is going on.
Thank you. Thank you for that perspective. It's very useful. And so now, talking about the 10 scale metrics
Right.
what are they? So one of them is, of course, stapling, and then there is wrist articulation. How well does the trainee articulate and moves how well does the trainee move the arms of the robot and the instruments? There's another one based on tissue dissection
That's correct.
and tissue handling.
Retraction.
There is another one on retraction. There's another one on swapping, meaning for cases that require
Yes.
the use of 4 arms. Some of them only require 3. That's another inherent weakness, but hey, for the ones that require 4 arms, you need to be able to swap between one and the other arm to be able to maximize your retraction.
And that's also an ergonomic control as well.
Ergonomic advantage. So if the trainee is not swapping, is not learning how to change one arm versus the other arm, because with 4 arms, you could be a surgeon with 2 right arms or 2 left arms. Think about it. You have the camera and 1 arm on one side, and then you have 2 other arms. So you either have 2 right hands or 2 left hands. You need to swap sometimes. So that's another one that is measured. Port placement. That's one of the ones that the blinded reviewers could not see.
Yeah,
because unless we have a camera in the room,
right,
they're not going to see that. So port placement is one of the ones that were not graded on
Exactly.
the TAR scale by the video reviewers. But there's another one.
The wristed articulation.
Wristed articulation, intercorporeal suturing,
Suturing is
and
brilliant.
not tying. That's another one important.
Endoscopic camera use.
The camera use, that is graded because, I mean, if the camera is moving all over the place or the camera is
The
not moving at
angles,
all,
right, yeah.
you see? The other one is the one that could not be measured was docking. What do we mean by docking? Just like the space shuttle needs to dock and attach itself to the space station. Same thing, you need to dock the robotic arms to the trocars or ports.
Our students can also tell us a little bit about how they learned about
So
it.
you guys tell us about that. So tell us about how you are able to master docking by doing the hardware lab at last.
Well, it's definitely harder than it looks. I remember the first time I tried, instead of moving the arm towards the trocar, I ended up moving the trocars towards the arm, because it is not so easy, like, to articulate the arm, like having to account all the points of which you can, or the axis you could move the arm in order to get to a place. So it's definitely something you have to practice beforehand. So when you go into the real deal, you can
It's not just
you can
normal
do it. Yeah,
connections.
exactly. You can manage to dock it.
Well, in docking, you must always remember that you have two hands, and the two are dynamic, and they might join themselves while docking. You cannot do it with one fixed arm and your other arm moving toward it. The two must combine their gestures.
That's right.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah, Abhishek, were you gonna say something?
and yeah, we have taken videos of that, and it will be uploaded in the TROGSS website too
Yeah.
soon enough, so you will understand what that actually means, what are those movements, how to move it off.
We're gonna have a special of videos
Yeah.
displayed on, guys, what time is it?
The robotic science
It's
zone.
robotic time zone,
So
everybody.
many times.
So
I said
yes,
it every
but-
time.
The most
If
important
I
one.
may-
Because
Uh,
we
if I
are
may-
living under a single robotic time zone. So
Exactly.
yeah, the videos, the tutorials will be displayed by our wonderful, incredible, state-of-the-art, unique robotic time zone task force
Correct.
in the website, in our portion of the website, in the page called Robotic Time Zone, or RTZ. And also our incredible communications and social media committee will be showing vertical versions for Instagram and TikTok, vertical short little videos for our social media. So two
Perfect.
different versions so that our trainees and audience and members from around the world, they can understand what we're talking about. There is one more, Abby, before we go to the next part of the discussion. There is one more variable that could not be measured by the blinded reviewers because they were not in the room, either in presence or virtually.
Right.
And that is something incredible. I don't know if anybody knows this outside the US, but today is a big deal in the United States. I'm talking about something that some people may consider trivial, but it's important because it's part of who we are, and sports are important everywhere in the world. And sports unite people. When we have so many issues going on in the world that divide humankind, we have sports and they unite people. And it's an important day because it's the beginning of college football in the
Right.
US, right? Football as in American football. I know the rest of the world calls it American football. We call it football. And so it's a big deal. It's college, it's university level football, which is exciting. Today is the beginning, which is also very exciting because it kind of marks the preamble to the fall, to the autumn, my favorite season in the US. Why am I saying this? There is a point to this. Because it's important because excuse me, I lost my train of thought. What were we talking about before this?
Something that is special to
Hello.
the US.
Couldn't observe. right,
That's
One,
it.
one more thing.
There is a point to
There you go.
this.
Trivial for surgeons.
There is a
especially.
point. Thank you so much. So teamwork. There is a point to this. Ergonomic advantage. What does it mean to have an ergonomic advantage, or the intangibles? So we call it the intangibles, Abby. So I don't know, when you're a performance athlete, I'm not, but I love sports, and so I appreciate that. So when you're a performance athlete or a musician or an artist, there is something that the French would call je ne sais quoi. There's something inherent to that person's performance that is not easily measured with objective numbers or criteria, but it just, when somebody has
Very
poise,
savvy with the
savvy, and somebody has confidence and poise and
Right.
is in control of his or her emotions, and it
Correct.
has to do a lot with something that now CEOs and leaders in organizations are being measured based upon emotional coefficient.
right.
It's not the IQ anymore, not just the IQ or intellectual coefficient. It's the EQ, is your emotional coefficient, emotional intelligence. That's a wonderful topic to talk about on a different webinar. So leaders have a high coefficient for emotional intelligence. We're supposed to handle our emotions well, be in control,
Right.
not be irrational. We're all human. We all make mistakes,
Right.
including myself, of course. But we need to try to be better and to understand and put ourselves in the other person's shoes and point of view, right? And so when you see these athletes, there's something about them. You can tell who's really in control and who's not in control. We actually have variables to measure
that as well.
And that is something, of course, that our blinded reviewers could not judge. But if they had a camera in the room and we were focusing on the trainee posture and how confident is the trainee communicating with the team and paying
Right.
attention to problems and troubleshooting and sitting down comfortably and using the clutch. Guys, talk a little bit about, for the last few minutes, talk about some of the controls with the robot. There is the finger clutch. Can you discuss the finger clutch, Pedro?
Well, the finger clutch is between in the arms of the robot. You can push it, and it's like locked when you are in the surgery in the training, right? So when you clutch, you can maybe restart the movement of one arm, and you can start again. So this is like a huge benefit for the
So
for the
as
training.
in like you're holding a position.
Yeah.
So what you do is you can change your arm position to a more ergonomic posture, more comfortable for you without moving the robotic instrument. So it gives you a break.
Right.
Because sometimes when you're beginning, or even for advanced surgeons, you may be doing such a difficult case that now your arms, instead of being here, Dr. Abou-Mrad can tell you that, of course, the more experienced you are, the less you fall into that trap. Next thing you know, you're operating and your arms are like this and you don't even realize it. That's not ergonomic. I mean, look
Right.
at my arm, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna hurt my neck and back. So, and I'm like this. If you're like this, that's not good, right? Right. So what you do is you clutch so that you can sit down, go to a more
Bring back
ergonomic
your
position.
posture, gotcha.
And while you do that, you're protecting the patient because the arms are not moving. You're taking a little parenthesis.
And that's again another improvement that we saw from laparoscopy back in the day, especially operating on higher BMI patients. I'm sure you know bariatrics as well. It takes really big physical strain on the surgeon as well, correct? And
That's right.
coming to robotic surgery, that has definitely improved quite a lot, especially when it comes to ergonomics. And now that having metrics to also measure that. Moving on with robotic surgery advances, we're not done with improving that yet. We can still make it better.
That's right. That's right. All of that is true. And so how does the audience get access to the paper? Well, first of all, we will make sure that we have a poster. If they check trogss.org, trogs.org, they go to Robotic Time Zone, and then go to Robotic Time Zone, the section of our website. There is a section within Robotic Time Zones that talks about our protocols, our worldwide protocols, studies.
Right.
If they click on one of those, they're gonna see the QR code, and they can watch the video. It's de-identified. They can watch the video and they can get access to the manuscript for free. All of that. So just go to the website. You'll see the information.
So
Of
once
course, you can
again-
always look it up on PubMed, but
Perfect.
so
The name of
TROG.
our paper is
Yes.
Development and Initial Experience of Novel Competency-Based Assessment of Robotic Surgical Skills, CARS scale for general surgery residents, and it's available with Global Surgical Education Journal, published in 2024.
And very
Can-
soon.
Can
Abby,
I have a comment on competency?
Yes.
I think the cars have this unique specialty to assess competency. What is competency? When a procedure, a surgical procedure, is enough standardized by pioneers or by experiment surgeon, skilled surgeon, it's the ability to be reproduced by the student or the young surgeons. As you said at first, that it's how much they are diverting from the standard. This is the competency. If they can comply with the standard technique, they are more competent. They are acquiring the safe way to do surgery. And if they divert, it means they had not enough knowledge of the safety that has been made by standardization, the technique.
Thank you. Thank you for that perspective as well. And now in terms of CARS 2.0, the paper is coming up in one of our leading affiliated journals at TROGSS, and we'll announce it once it's published. It's been accepted, but we're waiting very patiently, and we will announce it to the world. It's very exciting. So briefly, in a few minutes, what's CARS 3.0, Abby? Where are we going with this? What's CARS 3.0 now?
So we externally validated our scale with 2.0. 3.0 is putting it into action, especially with our ITP sites. So, and our CARS 3.0 comes alive with our panel right here, and all the students are trained with our ITP sites. So what we'll be doing is we'll be collecting metrics. So how was your skills before you started your training? What has been your understanding for robotic surgery? All the 7 tangibles we talked about, and the intangibles, which you can also observe now, especially with our 8 sites have 8 directors will be there in person, assessing all of our trainees as well, which makes it an even better assessment. At the end of the day, we'll have 2 types of measurements that will be pre and post training, and we can see how much of their skills have improved through the training as well. So it's a way of both validating the scale as well as validating the program to see how much value and impact we bring.
There is a caveat to that, Abby. Not only is it open to our 8 intercontinental training program, ITP participating centers, which are in the United States, in Mexico, in Colombia, in Ecuador, France, Luxembourg, Germany, and Japan. Hopefully, soon to be another one in Mexico. Abby, more to come, and one in China very soon. Okay, so we'll go from 8 to 10. Not only is it open to them, if anyone out there, any surgical educator passionate for education who has access to robotics, because later on we'll open it to laparoscopy, but anyone with robotic platforms, it does not have to be Da Vinci, by the way. It could be any robotic platform from any country, from any industry. If anyone out there is watching who is a program director or educator in charge of trainees, students, medical students, interns, registrars,
Definitely.
fellows, right? Or
Admins,
even young
systems.
faculty, anyone with access to the robot can implement this curriculum and be invited to
Even
participate.
simulation training as well.
Even simulation training. So if anyone out there is watching who wants to participate, contact us, please. Send us an email at TROGSSofficial, all together, TROGSS official, no underscore, all together, TROGSSofficial@gmail.com. I repeat, TROGSSofficial@gmail.com. Or if you just check out our website, Google it, you're going to see TROGSS, TROGSS. Go to the website. At the bottom is our contact info. Please contact us. Let us know that you want to participate as a program director. Also consider applying, become a program director for TROGSS. Even if you don't have a robot, if you teach laparoscopy, be our guest, please. Please apply. We will be glad to take you. But this CARS 3.0 is for robotics specifically. So please consider applying so that you can be a co-author, a named author, if you enroll your students or trainees.
Perfect.
And the trainees who participate, they will be acknowledged authors, not named, but collaborative authors. There will be a collaborative consortium that will be named. But as program directors, if you administer the curriculum, you could be a named author on this manuscript that will come out and will be presented at international meetings, which will be CARS 3.0.
Every conference we talked about surgical equity, especially when it comes to robotic surgical education. And we even presented about this in International College of Surgeons meeting in Charleston. And on top of that, the important thing about TROGSS is that we came not with just the problem, but also the solution itself with ITP training. So you can also be a part of that solution by signing up to be a site and, of course, contribute to 3.0 and keep it going.
That's
I think
amazing.
we can land the plane for today. So huge thanks to Dr. Rodolfo Oviedo as well as Dr. Abou-Mrad for joining us today. And of course, our panel. Thank you again for your questions and
Thank
for your
you.
contributions. And again, you can access a paper at World Surgical Education Journal. And huge thanks to also our partner, Surgeon, for sponsoring our episode. And Lipoline, of course, check our product out. It's all on our website at TROGSS.com.
I also want to thank our production team. You're not seeing them. You see, you're
They're
just
behind
seeing
the
us.
scenes.
They're behind the scenes. They're incredible people, very dedicated to excellence. They're the production team that made this possible. So thank you very much, gentlemen.
And follow TROGSS and Surgeon for the next original read session and share one pearl you heard tonight with your teammate with your next case. So
Thank
until
you.
the next episode.
Thank you. And special thanks to Surgeon, our partner as well. Thank you, Surgeon Surgery Unified, for putting out this incredible webinar. All of this will be eventually in our YouTube channel
This
and social
recorded
media.
session will be accessible as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Stay safe and please become members of TROGSS if you're not members yet. It's free membership and we are
Surgeon
one
as
global
well.
family. And of course, become members of Surgeon. We invite you to do that.